Yo, Dave Hatchett here from Tahoe Bouldering Guides. And I've decided to put together a little video series for y'all on YouTube to kind of help you find the boulders. I know a lot of these approaches can be pretty cryptic. So my thought was to kind of take you on these like little virtual tours and maybe it'll kind of help you sort it out. And then once you get to the boulders, you're pretty much gonna want a guidebook, I think, because that way you'll be able to tell which boulders are which and which problems are which. Also in these videos, I'll probably do some little profiles on some of the bouldering, some of the classics. You'll find all kinds of useful information in these videos. So have at it and let's go bouldering. All right, kids, today I'm going to take you to this really stellar spot called the Premiums. It's near Sugar Pine, and it's all these rad granite erratics that sit on open slabs with really cool views of Desolation Valley, Desolation Wilderness, Loon Lake. So really cool spot to come check out. A couple things to remember before you head up here. Number one, you're going to be driving on the McKinney-Rubicon Trail. Contrary to any myths you might have heard, you don't need a crawler, you don't need a lift kit, a normal truck will make it. You just need to go slow at the cruxes. There's about 2 or 3 really rocky sections. Take your time, pick a good line, and you should be fine. Once you're at the parking lot, you're gonna be accessing this whole area using the Pacific Crest Trail. And you're just gonna walk down the Pacific Crest Trail and you're gonna exit the Pacific Crest Trail at certain times along the trail to hit the different areas. You'll hit the Premiums entrance boulders, then the Premiums, then the Boneyard, then the Hypocrite boulders, then the Trailside Treasure boulders. So I'll walk you down the approach right now and just show you all the different places to cut off to the bouldering areas. And I might even show you a couple boulder problems. Okay, so we just drove up 2 miles from the intersection past Miller Lake. And here we are at the spot where the road intersects the PCT. Super obvious, got this big sign right here. And there's room for about, I don't know, 2 cars right here. And then here's the PCT cutting through, heading that way. So next step is we're just gonna walk on down the PCT here and start hitting some boulders. Cool. And there's a bunch of nerds right there. Nerds! Okay, so here we are at the first set of boulders down the trail. We've been hiking on the trail for 7 minutes. 7 minutes down the PCT. And you're gonna see this real obvious boulder right here off the trail. This is called the Premiums entrance boulders. And just down below this in the trees is several more blocks. And then there's a few more just a little ways up the trail here on the right, about 50 yards. So this is the Premiums entrance boulders. Not nearly the quality of the Premiums boulders themselves, but one cool thing about these boulders is they do get a fair amount of shade. So that's definitely something to consider if you on a hot day. What'd you say? What'd you call me?
Called you David Hatchett, director, producer, interviewer. Sir.
Okay, so we're now 3 minutes further down the trail from the Premiums entrance boulders, and we're 10 minutes total in from the car. Again, you see this really obvious boulder right here. Really cool V10 problem there, kind of just left of the tree mantle scoop problem called Sprocket. Put it by Seth right there. Sprocket. And then to the right of it, there's a cool arete over there on the right, kind of by that fallen tree. There's a cool V5 arete. So here we are 1 minute past the Sprockets boulder, 11 minutes total from the car. And this is the turnoff for the Premiums. There's a little cairn on the rock right here. And if you look closely, you're gonna see some cairns leading out that way. So you're basically gonna walk 11 minutes in from the trail here. You're gonna look for these cairns and you're gonna just take a right and you're gonna start following these cairns down for about 10 minutes until you get to the Premiums, the central Premiums. We are now about 100 yards below the trail, and this is the first boulder you're gonna come to. This is called the Spectacle Boulder. And it's just a little stop on the way there. And really you can make this a cool circuit if you just go left here. Just up over this little slab here, you can kind of see the tips of a couple of boulders sticking up over there. There's a cool little circuit of boulders over there. So again, these boulders are literally 100 yards below the trail. And what we're gonna do for the main premiums is we're gonna skirt around the right side of this boulder, follow the rock stacks down in that same direction, which is that away. And we'll arrive at Rising Tide and the central premiums in about 10 minutes. Just walked around the right side of the spectacle boulder, and this is pretty much the view here, just these beautiful open slabs with little mini erratics everywhere. We just walked down 7 minutes from the PCT down the slabs, and we've just now arrived at the central premiums. And you're gonna come upon this beauty here. This is Rising Tide, and this left traverse here is just absolutely out of this world. 4-star V5. There's several up problems, blood meridian on the steep face around the corner. And so this is it. This is the central premiums here. There's a bunch of really nice blocks, just kind of all sitting right in here. You can see them. Nice big split block there with a bunch of problems on it. Some problems through here, through the trees. And then you've kind of got two options from here. You climb the central premiums, or you're going to go right, which is kind of westish, head across these slabs for just about a couple hundred yards, and you'll arrive at the apple pipe boulders. And if you turn left here and go kind of east-ish, underneath Rising Tide here, and head that direction, you will get to the Tuolumne Shield boulders and then eventually the glow block area. Okay, so this is the Tuolumne Shield boulder, and we're about 200 yards southeast of Rising Tide. And to get here from Rising Tide, we just walked southeast, we skirted around the left side of a pond, and then we came just through the forest and arrived at this thing. And if you continue in the same direction southeast, you're gonna get to the Hot Sake boulder right over there. And then from Hot Sake, you just take a due right cut and start kind of heading southwest, and you'll get out to the glow blocks. So next stop is the Hot Sake boulders, about 150 yards that way. And then right turn to glow blocks. Here's the front side of the glow blocks. Epic. Some real nice problems going on up that face there. Nice little circuit out here on the slabs. And this view is just incredible. Out over Desolation, Rubicon Reservoir, Rockbound Lake. Just epic. Such a cool place to have a sunset. right, here we are at here we are at the next obvious landmark. This is the sign marking the entrance to Desolation Wilderness, and we're 18 minutes in, so call it a baker's 20. And yeah, 20 minutes in on this trail, and then we're gonna walk just a little bit further, and we're gonna cut up to the boneyard.
Are we there yet?
The gym's that way.
Gym's the other way.
Okay, here we are about 25-30 minutes in, and we're gonna show you these boulders called the hypocrite boulders. They're very obvious. They're 25 to 30 minutes in, depending on how fast you're walking. They're just off the trail to the right here, you can't miss them. There's a couple boulders there, and there's a couple behind it, and they're real nice. And these are called the hypocrite boulders right here. And then the only other little tidbit I want to show you is if you just continue on the PCT here for an hour and 15 minutes total from the car, you're going to arrive at this really cool boulder called the Trailside Treasure. It literally sits on the trail. You can't miss it. So that's it for these satellite areas. So what we're going to do here is we're going to backtrack about 100 yards from these hypocrite boulders. We're going to go back down the trail here about 100 yards or so. We'll see. We just found the spot, so we're still kind of sorting it out, but it's just about a minute back the trail here. We're going to go up the hill to our left for about 20 minutes to the boneyard. Okay, here we are. We're about 6 minutes past the wilderness boundary sign, and this boulder just sits right on the left of the trail, and we're also about 100 yards before the hypocrite boulders. And this is where we're going to cut off. We're just going to take a left here through the woods. Got her?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the coordinates this is the coordinates for the cutoff to the boneyard right here. And then one other thing we're going to do here real quick, you can just keep it rolling. We're going to go into my waypoints, and on this app they're called overlays. And I'm going to find this, this is Sam's Club. This is one of the boulders up at the new zone. And I'm just going to say navigate to this point. And as you can see, there's my GPS right there, point me in roughly that direction, and it's 0.36 miles away, roughly straight uphill, east. So that's what I would suggest when you get here, is put in one of the coordinates from the guidebook to guide you up to the boulders from here, because now we're going to be going cross country for about 20 minutes. So that's the guaranteed way not to get lost, is use your GPS. Okay, so definitely been trending up and right since we left the PCT. And there's a bit of a little faint climber's trail here, a couple cairns. And you're pretty much just heading up and right, avoiding the deeper brush to your left. So just stay out of the manzanita, keep trending up and right, and follow the cairns. Okay, so here I am coming up the hill on the way to the boneyard. And again, I can't stress enough how easy it is to use a GPS. There's the arrow pointing me in the direction I need to go. It's telling me I'm 988 feet away, and I'm just going to keep walking this direction. It's just so easy. I mean, look around me. I'm in the middle of a forest here. Yeah, you can go ahead and blame the guidebook author for not giving you good directions to the boulders, but imagine trying to describe how to find the boulders in this setting. I mean, you're just in the middle of nowhere. There's just forest everywhere. There's no landmarks. So just really, I can't emphasize enough how using a GPS is just going to make your life so much easier. So here we go. We're going this direction for 1,000 feet to the boulders.
Yeah, we didn't.
Sick burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope you like that segment there on the premiums. The premiums is definitely one of my favorite spots in Tahoe. If you got the truck to get up there, you're definitely not going to see any people up there. So that's one of the things I like about it so much is there's no people. And little backstory on the premiums. In 2016, Seth Carter was poking around on Google Earth, and he found what looked like a pretty rad boulder field on Google Earth. So we hiked out there, and sure enough, we found the premiums. And it was funny. It was one of the few times ever where we just kind of hogged all the first ascents for ourselves. Seth and I were so blown away with the quality of the boulders that we spent about a week down there, just Seth and I climbing and bagging all the best lines. And then after about a week of scarfing up the finest gems out there, we called Dave Suizo, my brother Mike, Roman Yalowitz, Dave Baxter, and we all went out there and kind of shared the rest of the FAs, and those guys kind of helped finish off the rest of the climbing out there at the premiums. So that's pretty much it. That's the backstory of the premiums, and yeah, have a good time out there. It's a really cool spot to hang out.